Sid Cichy Stadium in Fargo, North Dakota. Good evening, folks, and welcome to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas alongside my partner, Lucas Johnson, as we're getting ready for what should be a fantastic game here between the Shanley Deacons and the Central Cass Squirrels. Two heated rivals getting ready to battle it out all during Shanley's homecoming week. This game, the pinnacle that the week has been building to. Everybody's excited. We're ready to go. The players are ready to go. The fans are ready to go, and we hope you are as well. For now, we're going to turn things over to the PA announcer, but don't go anywhere, folks. We got a great game coming up in just a few minutes.
Shanley High School campus, which includes Sid Cichy Stadium, is tobacco-free, so we please ask you to refrain from smoking on school grounds. Also, because of the field turf, sunflower seeds are prohibited. Thank you for your cooperation in these matters. Concession stands and restrooms are located on the north end of the bleachers. At this time, we ask that you please rise, remove all headwear, as we ask Father Charles to lead us in prayer.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Thanks and praise be to you, God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, who has bestowed on us in Christ every spiritual blessing in the heavens. We thank you for the great blessing of being gathered here together tonight. We ask you, as always, to be with us the whole evening through. Watch over us and guide us. Keep the players free from injury and harm. Allow them to play to the best of their ability, and may they enjoy the contest here tonight. And let everything that we do begin with your inspiration, continue through your grace, and give you great honor. We pray all this in the name of your Son, Jesus, by the power of your Holy Spirit, your God, forever and ever. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Please remain standing as the singing of our national anthem is sung by the Shanley Choirs and Alumni under the direction of Patrick McGuire.
Don't go anywhere, folks. High school football action is next after a brief word from our sponsors.
This broadcast is presented by American Family Insurance, Ken Craft Agency, Bell Bank, Butler Machinery Company, Ed's Marine and Storage, the Fargo Jet Center, First International Bank and Trust, Forum Communications, Haley's Hope, Kochman Brothers Homes, Luther Family Buick GMC, Master Construction, Moore Engineering, Netrix IT, Northern Improvement Company, Off the Wall Advertising, Robert Gibb and Sons, Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, Shields, and TCI Insurance.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas, alongside the man, the myth, the legend. That's right, Lucas Johnson is back on the air this evening. And Lucas, what a game to come back for. Shanley and Central Cass doesn't get much better than this.
Absolutely, Jed, and to make things even better, it is homecoming week here for Shanley. So the crowd, they got plenty of students behind them. They got the band on the field. The atmosphere couldn't be any better, although he could ask for a little better weather situation, but I know the players are ready to go tonight.
Absolutely. As you said, it's a bit of rough weather out there. Strong wind, pretty cold, and some drizzle coming down. But you know what? It's hard-nosed football. It's just an old-fashioned grinding type of game. Should be a fun one to watch as a fan. And you know the players love every once in a while to have one of these. And you know, Lucas, looking at this big rivalry matchup, who are some of the key players we should be watching out for on both sides of the ball?
Well, Jed, starting on Shanley's side of the ball, of course, looking at senior Jake Cava, a tight end and linebacker. He's just a huge presence out there no matter where he's at on the field. He can do a lot of damage on both sides of the ball. And Haley Buckles as well, the junior, is just a threat at wide receiver. And not only there, but at D-back. Using his speed, he is such a weapon, again, on both sides of the balls. And then senior Tom Erie at cornerback and does play a little bit of wide receiver too. Again, another fast presence for Shanley. On the Squirrels side of the ball, looking for that Jonah Leitz and Jalen Albright connection all day. They've got a strong passing game there for Central Cass. And on top of that, they have 14 returning starters here tonight that really creates a strong connection, and they know what's going to happen here tonight.
Absolutely. You know, we'll get to that Leeds Albright connection. We'll come back to that in a minute. But one thing we got to mention on the Shanley side of things, they will be without starting quarterback Caden Kuhneman, who suffered a broken collarbone in their last game against Watford City. You know, Lucas, how big is it for the Deacons to lose their starting QB so early in the season here?
Well, Jed, you know, it's tough. Anytime you lose anyone on your team and to have that be so early in the season, that's tough. You start rallying behind your quarterback, and then all of a sudden he gets injured and he's taken out of play. So, you know, guys are having to adapt and trying to find different ways to connect with each other. But knowing this Shanley offense, they do a really nice job. In practice, they get a lot of different reps from a lot of different guys. So, you know, being able to just rally behind one another and play some good football is what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely, and the man who will be stepping in for the injured Kuhneman is fellow junior Cade Busick. He's been the backup throughout most of the season. He played a large portion of that Watford game when Kuhneman went down, and so we'll get to see him in his first career start. Pretty big game to be making your first start in under the bright lights. Should be a fun atmosphere, but you got to wonder about the nerves there with the first-time starter.
Absolutely, and, you know, part of that might come from the coaching staff. You could see maybe some more run plays coming out early. You know, you don't really need to test the arm early on, especially on a windy day like today. So on top of nerves and just the weather atmosphere, I'd look for Shanley to really try and run the ball and try and tire out this Central Cass defense.
All right, should be interesting to see what they end up doing. And getting back to what you said earlier, the Leitz-Albright connection, definitely be looking for that here this evening. But you know what? Jonah Leitz to really whoever, that guy can just throw the ball flat out. The junior quarterback, he's a big guy, 6'3", big frame, great arm. Leitz can carve up a defense. But as you said, Lucas, it's a pretty windy day out here today. High-pressure situation. Throwing the ball might be a little tough, at least in the early stages. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Central Cass maybe go to the ground game early on to kind of ease their players into it.
I would agree there, and if they do feel like they got to start passing, I'd look for some short outs or some ins just to get the ball kind of advanced just a little bit and try and keep it low under this wind.
For sure, just don't want to bite off more than you can chew early on. Get everybody slowly into this game. Don't want to get ahead of yourselves in a big game like this. We are just seconds away from opening kickoff here. The Deacons are 3-0, Central Cass 0-3, but that is a very deceiving record for the Squirrels. They're 0-3 with losses to three of the top teams in this division. That's losses to Devils Lake, Jamestown, and Wahpeton, who I believe are all top 5 ranked teams in AA. And those were some close games, too. They fell last week by only 3 points to a Jamestown team that fell by 1 touchdown to Shanley week 1. All right, getting ready to get underway. Max Bush, the senior kicker, will start things off. And, folks, if you couldn't tell it was windy before, you see that ball fly off the tee. It is very windy out there. That is going to be a big factor, at least early on. Both teams, though, probably hoping that wind will die down. Central Cass even more so than Shanley, likely, with their big-time pass game. Man in motion there is Fredericks. He'll move to the other side of the formation, and with that, we're underway as Bush's kick is going to fall at about the 10-yard line. It's taken by Volk. Volk has a little bit of space up the near side, but it's closing quickly. He's still on his feet, and he's down at the 28-yard line. A nice opening return there for Volk.
It was a nice job by the end there from Shanley to be able to take him and turn him up inside. If he was able to turn that outside, there was no telling who's going to stop him there. So it was a nice job there by Shanley to turn him back into the middle.
For sure, looked like he might break that one, but ended up getting wrapped up right at about that 28-yard line. So Kuhneman out with injury, but looking at this Shanley defense to start things off, we see one man making his season debut. That's Caleb Chrisman at the defensive end position, number 6. He will be playing for the first time this season. He had been out with a lower body injury the first few weeks, and right off the bat, here's a run. It's a little flip to Knutson, who lowers the shoulder over Haley Buckles for the first down, and what a way to start for Central Cass.
That was a big run there, Jed, but looking at it now, it looks like he might have taken a little bit of too big of hit there. He's down, slow to get up. It'll be interesting to see what happened there.
Yeah, for sure, because that would be a huge loss for Central Cass. That's Braden Knutson, the junior running back. It's the vast majority of their carries. Also a huge part of their blocking game. For Leitz, he often picks up blitzes in the backfield, and you see him lower. That one, he kind of went helmet to helmet.
It looked like a little helmet-to-helmet action there with Haley Buckholtz, but he is up now, walking off under his own power, so that's good to see, Jed.
Yeah, for Central Cass's sake, and for his, you really hope he can come back in this one. Just a huge piece of that offense. So we thought they might go to the ground game early on, windy day, just trying to ease everyone in. That's exactly what we saw. It was a little pitch, and it ended up going for about 11 yards, so you can't ask for a better start, really, than that. Leitz is going to go under center here. It's 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Leitz fakes the handoff. It's a misdirection. The give is to Volk. He is wrapped up and brought down for a big loss, though. That'll be a loss of about 3 or 4 yards. Maybe not big yardage-wise, but that's big momentum-wise.
Absolutely. To be able to come out after a first down play, a first down run right on the first play of the game, and to be able to stop them for a loss of yards there, that's big for Shanley defense. It was a nice job by that end to get around and contain again.
11:05 on the clock here as Central Cass has 2nd and 12, looking to run their 3rd play of the evening. Leitz is in shotgun. He's got trips left, flanker right, one man in the backfield alongside him. Leitz going to drop back, has a little bit of time, steps up, fires one, and it was just a bit too far that time for Halverson. Halverson made a great adjustment in midair there, but it goes off of his fingertips.
That was a little risky play there by Haley Buckholtz, trying to undercut that one, maybe try and get a hand on that to pick it off, but just missed that, and luckily it was just off the fingertips there for Central Cass.
Very close, though, and, these 3rd and 12 situations for a team like Central Cass are going to be a lot more manageable when you can pass like they can. You see right now, they've got 4 men out wide. It's doubles formation for the Squirrels. Leitz in shotgun, takes a snap. A little bit of time, has to step up, though, and he is wrapped up and brought down. A big-time sack will end this opening drive for the Squirrels.
It's just great job there by the Deacons defensive line. All 4 of those guys got off the ball quick and forced some pressure onto Leitz. And it doesn't matter how good of a quarterback you are, Jed. When you get pressure on you almost instantly, it's tough to make a play.
Absolutely. Not much he could do there. And so what started off as a very promising drive for the Squirrels is going to stall out after just 4 plays. So 4 plays, you're going to have to give the ball up here, and we're not sure if Knutson will be coming back. So that's a big loss for the Squirrels. And we got a whistle here on that punt. It looks to be a false start on the Squirrels, so that'll back them up even more. Good news for the Deacons, though. Looks like they'll have some better field position, likely. And that's an illegal procedure, ends up being the call against Central Cass. Nonetheless, though, going to back them up by 5 yards. Tom Erie is the man back to return this punt for Fargo Shanley. Erie last season, for those of you who were with us then, suffered very tough injury to his foot. Ended up laying him up for the entire rest of the football season and really most of that school year. He is back, though, and man, Lucas, has he looked good.
Absolutely, Jed, and it's tough to face a guy like Tom Erie with his kind of speed. Not able to get the ball there, but, believe me, Jed, watching Tom Erie run the ball, he's just a weapon out there.
And I think one of the most impressive things, at least to me, has been the fact that he just does not look scared. He suffered a pretty big injury last season, but he has come out here and looked just fearless, especially, returning punts. A lot of guys say scariest job in football, and he's just been undaunted.
Absolutely, and, coming back from any injury is tough. You lose some of that physical ability just from being laid up in a foot injury, no less. So a nice job there by Tom Erie to be able to bounce back.
All right, so we're getting our first look at the new QB, and right away it's a fake. Wasick loads
Wide
up to
open.
throw. He's got Buckles.
No.
Oh, through the hands. And Haley Buckles buries the face in his hands. He knows he should have had that one. And Lucas, sometimes when you're so wide open and that ball is right there, you end up overthinking it. It may sound weird, but that play was almost too easy that time.
To be able to execute when a trick play like that happens, you work on trick plays here and there, but to be able to execute it like that is something special. And little mistake there by Haley Buckholz.
And unfortunate for Shanley as they show Central Cass one of the plays up their bag of tricks. So that's tough for them to show that play and not get anything out of it. Now the Squirrels might know what to expect.
I will say, though, that was very creative to come out on the first play of their offensive possession. That's something special there drawn up by the Deacons.
Yeah, very brave play call there by Coach Mattern. Just comes right out against Central Cass, going for the home run. It doesn't work that time, but it was close. And kudos to Miles Wasick there, the receiver. He did play quarterback earlier in his career, and you can see why. It was a very nice ball. Busick on the QB keeper on third down will pick up the first down and maybe a yard or two extra. So Busick has not been asked to throw the ball yet. He has been asked to run it twice, and he's looked pretty good.
Absolutely. Two QB sneaks there, and that O-line there for the Deacons is looking pretty strong, able to create some holes there for Busick to be able to gain some yards. And, each run doesn't need to be a huge gain, Jed. He was able to pick up a couple decent half-yarders there.
For sure. So 2 men out to the left, 1 out to the right. Busick will throw this time. It's a nice ball over the center, off the fingertips of Jake Cava. Got a hand up there, but did not quite pull it down.
Nice job there by Busick. He had some pressure coming at him. A little wobbly throw there, but just over the hands of Cava.
Also a nice play that time by the safety, Christian Leitz. Made a good play on the ball. Kind of got in Cava's field of vision there, and no doubt that can really throw you off as a receiver.
And this wind as well, Jed, it's tough when you're trying to catch a ball and you're factoring in the wind. It is tough, not only for the quarterback.
It's a pitch now out to Fredericks. He's a real speedster, and look at him turn the corner here. Cole Fredericks off to the races at the 10, still on his feet, and into the end zone for the Deacon touchdown.
Just a great play drawn up here by the Deacons. You can see Fredericks looking to go inside, see the hole collapses, bounces outside, and he's home free from there, breaks a couple tackles. Just a great run there by Fredericks.
And boy, talk about making something out of nothing. It looked like they were going to get him there for maybe 1 or 2, and all of a sudden he turns on the Jets. You cannot ask for a better start if you're the Shanley offense.
Absolutely. After coming out after a failed trick play, you like to see a big run there going for the touchdown. Just a great play by the Deacons.
So Max Bush is on to attempt the PAT. He had a couple misses last week against Watford, including one that was blocked. We'll see what he can do here, and there's another block. And that ball will be blown dead. So it's a 6-0 lead for the Deacons. But something to watch, their special teams issue. They're having a lot of kicks blocked over the last few weeks.
And Jed, that snap looked a little low, so it took the holder a little longer to set that up. Probably not what they wanted there exactly, but it is what it is. They got a 6-0 lead, so it's time for this defense to come out and put a hold on them.
Yeah, you don't get the extra point there, but that touchdown still is just a huge momentum changer for you. Really gets things going your way if you're the Deacons. So now we'll see if Central Cass can respond. And the thing about the Squirrels, when you've got a passing game like they do, we've talked about it a lot, but it's really worth noting, you can get yourself back in any game just so quickly because they can just bomb that ball down the field.
Absolutely. We saw a couple big plays break there from Central Cass early on, and their offense is looking fairly strong, so it'll be interesting to see what they do here on their second possession.
Also, we'll see if Braden Knutson is out there or if he will be out for a longer period of time. He does appear to be on the sideline right now with his helmet off, so not what you want to see if you're a Central Cass fan.
And, you know, with all the standard concussion protocols, we did say he took a hit to the head there, so it could be more precautionary. The trainer here, Kelly Burns, still on his side, taking a look at him, so it'll be interesting to see here later in the game.
Frederick's in motion on this kickoff once again, and it's a little pooch kick, almost an onside there. It will not work, though, and Central Cass is going to get the ball at the 37. So an interesting decision there by Shanley, perhaps knowing that the wind is such a factor right now. They're just seeing what they can do with a bit of a shorter kick.
And, you know, with a kick like that, too, it gives you guys, or it gives Central Cass a little less time to set up and get blockers in place, and it gives Shanley a little less time to, you know, cover ground. So they're able to pick up that ball there. Instead of having a big run back here, they're able to corral it, and they must be feeling pretty strong about their defense.
All right, so we get another look at the Central Cass offense now. One man out to the left, one out to the right. Leets back to pass, fires one a bit too high. It's up in the air, and it ends up on the ground. Tom Erie thought he had the pick there potentially. Just about got it, too. We'll get a look at the replay. You know, it just looks like Leets puts too much on that ball. Receiver has to jump up to get it. Goes off of him, off of Erie, and then to the ground.
You like to see with those plays maybe a little more of a bullet pass towards their receivers. Looked like he let that one go just a hair early, and that's why the receiver had to jump, and that's, you know, where you get all the tip.
So 2nd and 10, ball at the 38-yard line. They fake the handoff, and then it's a little pitch out to Sullivan, who is stood up and brought down by Jake Cava. Boy, that one looked like it hurt. Cava gets right into him and puts him to the ground.
And, you know, like we had said before the game, Jed, Jake Cava out there is just a presence. You always got to be aware of where he's at. Maybe tailor a play to run to his weak side. Just with Jake Cava out there, just he's a playmaker. He's all over the field. So it'd be very interesting to see what Central Cass does to counter his presence.
Volk will split out wide to the left now. It's that same formation here for Central Cass. Now they'll send another man out. It's Sullivan. Leets back to pass, pressure coming. Has a man. It's caught by Albright for the first down and more. Albright down at the 44-yard line. And a fantastic job by the Central Cass offense on 3rd and 10.
Just a nice little out route there by Albright. It's that connection we talked about early, before the game. And, you know, when you're in a pressure situation like that, Jalen Albright is the man to call. And with an arm like Leets, that connection is there all day.
And something else to note about Albright, 6'5", his listed height at that receiver position. That is just a tower out there, and that is going to be huge for Central Cass, a big-time mismatch. We got a flag down, though, now, and it looks like perhaps encroachment on the Deacons. And that appears to be the call here.
I believe so. That's not what you want to have there as the Deacons, you know, after not stopping them on 3rd and long, and then to come back with a penalty to make it 1st and 5 as the Deacons. That's not what you need here. That's extra work that you just can't be putting yourself into.
So that's going to make it 1st and 5 now. It's a quick throw out to Volk. Not a lot of space, but he does a good job turning it into something. Ends up being brought down for a gain of 2 or 3. But that's going to make it a very manageable 2nd and about 1 yard here. And that's where you see that penalty really start to cost Shanley, as what would be a 2nd and about 6 is now 2nd and 1. Doubles formation for the Squirrels. Leets in shotgun. He's going to hand it off up the middle to Sullivan, and he is going nowhere. Wrapped up and brought down short of the 1st down.
And there's that Shanley defensive line again. They're collapsing on that hole, just being a presence there, able to let everyone kind of pursuit and gather around and bring them back. Looks to be actually a loss of 1 yard there. So this will be a big play here for the Deacons to see if they can hold them.
And Lucas, that Shanley defensive line, how about the play of Caleb Chrisman? He has been a huge disrupting force for Shanley, and this is his first regular season game. It's also his first year of football since freshman year. He's a senior now. His presence has been undeniable, looking really strong for a guy with not a lot of experience.
Absolutely, Jed. You know, it helps when you're built like Caleb Crispin. He's just a big guy out there. He's very good at other sports. He's an athlete, so he's built, and he knows, you know, he's got that athlete state of mind. So he's definitely a force out there as well. And for him to be able to come out here and start and perform well, it's very impressive.
For sure, a big guy with a ton of speed, though, from that DN position. And the QB keeper that time by Leitz is going to make it 1st and 10, a fresh set of downs, ball at the Shanley 33. And Leitz, as we mentioned, big 6'3" guy. He can basically fall forward on those QB keepers when they need to get just 1 or 2. Volk makes a couple of men miss, but that'll only end up going for about 3 yards there. That'll bring up 2nd down and 7 for Central Cass.
I have seen Central Cass go to that play a lot. Just a little, you know, the receiver steps back and Leitz gives him a nice little toss out there. He's got plenty of time, so if he can catch that and just turn it and go, that's going to be a dangerous play there for Central Cass.
With the spot, it's actually going to be 2nd and 9 now, so Volk did not end up getting as much positive yardage as we thought there. Leitz is going to hand that ball right up the gut, and that is going nowhere. Central Cass definitely feeling the loss of Braden Knutson right now. On that play, it was Chase Gross, the junior tailback. Good for a gain of maybe 1. I'll make it 3rd and 9, though, so they'll say he did not get anything. We saw them get a 1st down on 3rd and 10 on this drive, so certainly not impossible here on 3rd and long.
I would look for that Albright connection there. He's out wide. We'll see what they do here.
They're going to make it 5 wideouts now, and a flag. It looks like illegal motion. And so that is a costly mistake here. That's going to back him up and make it 3rd and 14. And you got to be careful when you got a man splitting out wide in motion like that. Can really lead to some mistakes, and like you see that time, the illegal motion will make it 3rd and 14.
And that does make it a lot tougher there, Jed. Not only is it longer, but like you said, they had completed a 3rd and 10 earlier on in the drive, and so now to make that 4 yards longer, completing 3rd and 10 is not an easy task. And so to give yourself 4 more yards, it doesn't make it any easier.
Absolutely not. 4 minutes, 42 seconds left to go here in the first quarter. Squirrels had a nice drive going here, but a couple of mistakes have cost them. They're in a tough situation. They're on the right side of the field, though, at the Shanley 37. Leitz drops back, pressure coming, fires a long one looking for Albright, and it looked like he had it, but Buckles got there to break it up. A little bit of redemption for earlier in the game, and oh no.
This does not look good, Jed.
That is just really tough to see if you're a Central Cass fan. Albright is down, and he is hurting right now.
Let's see on the replay. If he goes down a little funny, he's kind of grabbing at that left shoulder.
And maybe just an awkward fall. He had Buckles right on top of him. Yeah, you never know how they end up rolling or hitting the ground there when they got a man on top of them.
Yeah, it might have looked like he did something to that shoulder when Buckholz fell on him. He was kind of laying on that left shoulder a little weird. So, hopefully it's nothing too serious where he can get back up here. So
we'll wait and see what happens. Coming into this game, I think a lot of people would consider the big 3 for the Central Cass offense to be Knutson at the running back position, Leitz at the QB, and Albright at receiver, just a 3-headed monster. And so just really tough to see. Knutson goes out first play of the game, and now Albright appears to be shaken up pretty bad by the goal line. Lucas, early on in this game, what are your thoughts here with Shanley up 6-0? We've seen Central Cass threaten. They had a long shot there that just about made it. What are you thinking, though, Shanley holding the 6-0 lead?
Well, Jed, we haven't seen a whole lot of Shanley offense, so Central Cass is doing a great job keeping that ball and really kind of running down that time. We have seen them make a couple plays, so there's a lot of potential in Central Cass. And so I'm looking, Central Cass is really only needing that one big breakout play. As soon as they can get their momentum going their way, it could be really dangerous. Shanley, on the other hand, is looking really strong. Their defense is swarming to that ball. And the offense has been doing a really nice job on that last drive to be able to gain some positive yards.
And now we are very happy to see J.J. Albright up and walking off under his own power. We're not sure what the extent of this injury is. You know, as we said, it appeared to be upper body, and, you know, you'd imagine that's the case as he is able to walk off right now. But just a really tough sight to see the big receiver for the Squirrels headed off the field for now.
He is kind of cradling that left arm, so I'm wondering if it's not that shoulder. If he came down funny, that's not a fun injury.
And so, going back to the game, it is 4th and 14. Ball at the 37. You know, Lucas, they're in a really tough position on the field. What are you thinking they come out and do here?
Well, Jed, your options are you try and punt the ball, and with this wind, you could either pin them or, you know, into the end zone, bring it back out to the 20, which looks like is what they're selecting to do. But if you wanted to, you could go for it, and if you don't get it, you give them a little better field position.
All right, so they try the punt. It's Halverson kicking it away. It's going to take a nice bounce if the Squirrels can get it down here, and that decision will pay off, Lucas. As you said, you could maybe pin them, and that's exactly what they do. That ball down at about the 3-yard line.
That's about as good as he could do there, Jed. He kind of kicked it with a little top spin, so it did take a central cast bounce, and that's exactly what they needed for that drive to come to an end.
You never like to give the ball up, but if you're going to do it, you want to put your opponent in the worst position possible, and that's about what they've done. Ball on the 3-yard line. Shanley's got 1st and 10 to try to dig themselves out of a hole here. They do hold the 6-0 lead on the scoreboard, though. Busick in shotgun. He drops back to pass. He's got a lot of time. Fires one downfield. Halverson looked like he undercut the route, but Seville came up with it. Cam Seville, the senior wide receiver, with the big-time reception to give the Deacons much better field position now.
That was a very nice play there by Cam Seville. He did kind of come back to the ball. Like you said, it looked like the corner might have undercut that a little bit. So Cam Seville, just a monster out there. You know, he's over 6 foot, right?
6'5", the listed height.
6'5", you know, he's a basketball player, and to be able to have that reach is impressive.
And a late option there by Busick. It was an option play with Fredericks to his right, and he gave that away at the last second. And that was just about a turnover there for the Deacons, as that could have been, that was a fumble that could have been jumped on by the Squirrels.
And, you know, that, too, could have been nerves watching him. He took his eyes off the ball. He went upfield, maybe make sure he wasn't getting hit, so that pitch was off target. As a young quarterback, being able to watch that ball back to your receiver or your running back in that case is extremely important.
So it's 2nd and 8 now at the 37. It's going to be a similar play. No, instead it's a little flip out to Buckles. He's got space, makes a man miss, and is then brought down for the 1st down and more. .3:18 on the clock here after that big 1st down play. And the word from the sideline appears to be a dislocated shoulder for J.J. Albright. So that is really unfortunate for the Squirrels to hear. Doubles formation for the Deacons. Busick under center, throws one out, and that ball was caught with a knee on the ground. Cam Seville that time, just a mistake you don't want to make there.
And, you know, the throw wasn't the best. I believe it got tipped at the line. It might have looked like a lineman got a hand on that. It was kind of flying a little weird, so it was a decent catch. That's kind of what you have to do there. You have to adjust and be able to just corral that. And it was unfortunate that his knee was on the ground. And in high school and college, if any part of you is touching the ground there, you are down. So
exactly, yeah. And, you know, Seville's another one of those seniors who just joined football this year for the Deacons, so some of those mistakes are to be expected. A huge run now for Shanley. 1st down yardage and a lot more. Look to be a gain of 15. And on the carry, I believe that is Austin Manuel, the fullback, just barreling up the middle of the line there. And that'll make it 1st and 10. Ball at the Central Cast 37.
Great job there by the O-line from the Deacons to be able to create a hole for the running back, to be able to let him gain that yardage.
Doubles formation again. Busick in shotgun. Looking to his left. Fires one downfield. As a man, it's caught for the touchdown. Cam Seville yet again. And that'll make it 12-0 Shanley. pending the extra point.
That was a great play there. Nice throw right over the shoulder of Cam Seville. And, with a receiver like that, Jed, you could almost put it anywhere at 6'5". Like we had said, his reach is massive, but a great throw there by Busick right in the breadbasket, and he was wide open, home free.
And, it's really tough for Central Cass because they're putting the 6'3" corner, Jacob Halverson, on Cam Seville. Not much more you can do there. You're not going to find too many corners that can match that height, although J.J. Albright was a 6'5" corner who, of course, did get injured. So just really tough. That's just a huge mismatch. So it looks like the Deacons are electing to go for two after some struggles in the extra point game. Doubles formation yet again. Busick rolling out. Fires one into the end zone. Caught by Cava. And that'll make it 14-0 in favor of the home team. And Lucas, what a first quarter here for the Deacons.
That was a very active first quarter for the Deacons, not only on offense, but they did a great job on defense. There was a couple slip-ups, that encroachment call there, and a couple big yard losses there. But the offense has been the story of this first quarter. Just great playing there. I want to say on that two-point conversion, it was just a great throw there by Busick. It was powerful. Cava was in coverage, and he just threw a laser right into the numbers, and that's what you need.
Absolutely. Coming into the season, Cade Busick and Caden Kuhneman, Kuhneman the 1, Busick the 2 at the QB position. Kuhneman known as a pocket passer with not much of a run game. Busick known as much more of a mobile QB with not the same type of arm as Kuhneman. Boy, both those guys really have improved upon what were considered their weaknesses this year.
I would agree with that, Jed, and it's shown here tonight. Busick is really stepping up. We thought the Deacons might opt for more of a run game, not only with the win, but just because of Busick's first start and kind of the jitters. But we've seen passing plays right out of the gate. We've seen a couple run plays, and like you said, he's being very mobile, which is impressive, and being able to move the ball around and really lead this Deacon offense.
Yeah, the Shanley offense really firing on all cylinders in the absence of really their leader, Caden Kuhneman. That's just a great sight to see for Shanley. 2 minutes, 9 seconds to go in this first quarter. First quarter taking a little while to run down here, and that's something you'll see with a team like Central Cass that loves to throw. You get a lot more stoppage in time. Now that ball was mishandled at about the 10-yard line, and it ends up Central Cass ends up avoiding what could have been a disaster there, as that ball is brought out to about the 22-yard line. But that time it was DeBoyu who just about lost it near his own end zone.
It was a nice job by DeBoyu, seeing that the Deacons had just a wall coming up this left side, the close side to us. He was able to turn that back up and create some positive yardage. Just a nice job turning nothing into something there.
Absolutely, Central Cass really fortunate to have that ball out at the 22 instead of turning it over. So the Squirrel offense goes back to work. A real promising drive ended up stalling out on their last series. So we'll see what they can do. Leeds hands it off. That's going nowhere. Sullivan looked like he might have bounced it out to the outside, but he's brought down hard by a host of Deacon tacklers that
just
time.
Just watch how many Deacon tacklers get back here. That's just an attribute to that pursuit drill they do every day in practice. Counting about 6 Deacons there. It's just amazing able to get to that ball.
And now a timeout is called, I believe, by the Squirrels. And so that's going to be big here for Central Cass. You've lost 2 of your offensive leaders. You've got a negative play to start off this drive. And on this timeout, Lucas, what are you trying to do here if you're Central Cass?
Well, as a coach, you're just trying to corral your players. It's early on in the game. You're not out of this like we had talked about. They have a tremendous talent for getting back into games. We've seen plenty of big plays here today. So, if you're a lineman coach, you're telling your boys, get off the line. You know the count. Get off there as fast as you can and push your guys back, create a hole. And, I believe Light's just got to lead his offense. He's a presence over there, and I think the guys can really rally around him.
And, Lucas, interestingly enough, we were wrong on this one. It was a Deacon timeout. That's my mistake. So that's interesting here. Shanley taking a timeout must not have liked what they had out there to match up with the Central Cass offense. We know Troy Mattern is not afraid to do that. We've seen it a lot.
It was a possible personnel change there, and to have the matchups you want on that field is a big advantage for you. So we'll see. I'm sure Central Cass welcomed that timeout no matter.
For sure. And now Leitz drops back to pass, running out of time, gets it off to Sullivan, who's immediately tackled. And boy, the Shanley defense, they smell blood in the water. They are swarming to this ball right now.
There again, there were 3 tacklers around him. You saw him break one and then couldn't get anywhere. They was just right on top of him. So it was interesting to see Central Cass opt with the pass play there, 2nd and long. You know, maybe you want to gain some yardage and then reevaluate on 3rd down here. So it'll be interesting to see. There's another timeout, I believe.
You know, Lucas, I think you're right. It looks like another Deacon timeout. So that'll leave them with 1 to go in the half, and we've still got a minute 44 to go in the first quarter.
This is just first quarter. Usually you see this kind of action in the second quarter, but first quarter.
Interesting gamesmanship here by Coach Mattern. Not quite sure, you know, must not like what he's seen out there matched up with the Central Cass offense. But as you said, Lucas, I have to imagine the Squirrels are welcoming these stops in play.
And, you know, when thinking about it, I don't know what Coach Mattern doesn't like out there. It's 3rd and 10, Jed. I can't get much harder than that.
Absolutely. So Coach Mattern, though, definitely knows football a little better than us, so we'll trust his judgment,
That's very
though.
true, Jed.
We'll see if it pays off here. A minute 49 left to go in the first quarter. 14-0 lead for Shanley. Leitz drops back to pass, pressure right in his face, fires one downfield, and overthrows the receiver that time. And that is not uncommon to see when you've got a guy right in your quarterback's face.
Well, Jed, I'm not sure if anyone picked up on that, but I noticed Jake Cava snuck up to that line, and right before the snap was able to be in a full sprint and absolutely ran over one of those linemen. And when you have a guy like Jake Cava right in your face, that's something you don't want to mess with.
No way. No one wants to see Jake Cava barreling towards them. He's a big guy, all 6'3", 225 pounds of him. But, you know, that's really a calling card of a Steve Huber defense, blitzing on 3rd downs. He just loves to do it, and it's paid off so far, as that is a short punt here for the Squirrels, giving the Deacons a great look in field position.
And when you have personnel like Jake Cava, someone that can just get off the ball, it's very impressive it's a very nice thing to work with. It gives you options. You can have him drop back. He's a very athletic person, so he's very mobile. He's able to drop back into some coverage. But then when you need him to blitz on 3rd and 10, he's definitely getting through that line no matter who you put against him.
So the Shanley offense comes back to work. A very short field here to work with. Just 36 yards to go to the end zone. A minute 37 here to go in the first quarter. It's a pass to Cava. Makes a man miss. Still on his feet. Finally brought down at the 15-yard line. And the Deacons just rolling right now on offense.
That was a great pass there from Busick. Cava wide open, just on a little button there. And watch his legs churn here, Jed. He just does not stop. He's got guys dragging him down, and he's just high-stepping his way, trying to pull towards the end zone, but eventually they do get him down there at what looks to be the 16-yard line.
And, Lucas, that type of power running is very reminiscent of another Deacon, Matt Bird. He
Absolutely.
looked a lot like the former Shanley running back that time. Busick on the QB keeper, moving it upfield. Good for a gain of 1 or 2. The Squirrels right there. They sniffed it out early. A minute 05 left to go just in the first quarter. It has been a slow first quarter here as the Deacons hold a 14-0 lead. We've had a lot of stops in play, unfortunately, a lot for injury on the Central Cass side of things. Busick under center, drops back, fires one, trying to get Cava in the corner on the end zone. One-hand catch for Cava, make it 20-0 Shanley.
And that's just using Cava as a weapon. Not only is he just a power runner, but watch this grab. It's just a one-handed grab in the end zone, brings that back in. Just a great play. Not only the catch, but that pass by Busick, that was right where it had to be. Cava had a defender right behind him. You couldn't throw that short. Even if that didn't complete, that was still a great pass. It was a great job by Cava to bring that one in.
Just an absolute dime that time from Busick. Well said, Lucas. And, you know, no doubt when your starting QB goes down, you know, you're worried about filling that void. But, boy, Cade Busick has stepped in admirably with Caden Kuhneman out on the sidelines right now. 21-0 as that PAT is converted by Max Bush. 45 seconds left to go here in the first quarter as Shanley will get ready to kick this one off. And Lucas, what a start to the game here for the Deacons. It's homecoming week. They're fired up, and they have got a big lead on the scoreboard.
Absolutely. They have come out firing on all cylinders. They are just relentless out there, blitzing on third down, just long passes there from the 16-yard line. You know, when you're Central Cast, it's just tough to play against this, tough to defend against someone with such big momentum going their way. So I think Central Cast is really just looking for that one break to go their way, to be able to, you know, break loose and get a big run, get some momentum, and then their team can rally behind one another and really start to turn things around for them.
Right, you know, all you need is just one play, one lucky bounce, one big completion. And on that play where Albright got injured, you know, we saw a great throw from Jonah Leitz. It was almost complete. Albright just ended up letting that one go through his hands towards the end of the play. But, you know, plays like that, very close to being big-time plays. If Central Cass can get one of those to go, we got a whole different ball game. 45 seconds left to go as that ball's into the end zone for a touchback. 21-0, that lead for Shanley. Central Cass, we've said it a lot, though, they're very accustomed to playing from behind. In their game against Jamestown just last week, they found themselves down 16 points in the fourth quarter, ended up scoring 13 unanswered, ended up falling just short of the comeback, but still, we know they're capable of some big comebacks.
And you know, Jed, it is early on in this game. We still have 3 quarters. It doesn't feel like it. Feels like it's been a while now, but we still do have 3 quarters, so Central Cass definitely not out of this one.
No, not by a long shot. And it appears to be a false start against the Squirrels here. The Deacons, of course, immediately pointed to the Squirrels. The Squirrels pointed to the Deacons. We'll let the refs sort this one out, as I think those two sources are a bit biased.
I would agree with that, Jed.
And it looks like that call will go against Shanley. You know, I didn't really see what happened there.
You know, my guess is Central Cass went with probably a hard count, which is a great weapon the quarterbacks can use. You know, you go on 1, you go on 2, and try and get that opposing team to jump offside there. So it looks like that one worked. Make first down and 5 a little more manageable than first down and 10.
For sure. And an experienced QB like Jonah Leitz, always dangerous with that hard count. Now he hands the ball off, that time I believe to Sullivan, who's going nowhere in the run game, has really just not been there at all for Central Cass.
You know, Jed, looking back, maybe they need to go back to some of those pitches. We saw them working on that early on in the game. They had some success, some 5-6 yard runs there with some just quick out pitches. So it'll be interesting to see if they call back some more of those plays.
20 seconds and counting left on the clock here in the first quarter. Probably time for just one more play here. Doubles formation for the Squirrels. Leitz maybe adjusting the play here, not quite sure what's happening, and it looks like they'll just let the clock run out. They won't run a play here. They're going to take this break, they're going to take this time off here in between the first and the second quarters and maybe just try to regroup and game plan here facing 2nd and 4 at their own 27.
And you know, Jed, a little extra time to think about the play, what you want to do. You kind of saw maybe you're going to get a read on that Deacons defense there. You saw the way they were lining up. You saw how they came out in their formation. So maybe not a bad play there, but an interesting call nonetheless.
And with this stop in play, folks, we would like to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathletic.club.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. So getting ready to start off this second quarter. Lucas, any adjustments here you think Central Cass could make? You know, you mentioned going back to maybe those pitches, those outside runs. Anything else, though, where you think they could maybe find a way to turn this game around? You
know, Jeff, they've looked solid fundamentally. They're doing things really well. So I think it's just mental in their the way they're playing. So maybe the linemen get off the line a little faster, create the hole. They just need to get back in this and need a little momentum swing.
And maybe this stop in play here between the first and second quarters, maybe it'll be time for them to regroup. That does not appear to be the case on that play, though, as Leitz was in duress, being chased down, and he throws that one away. The man on top of him that time was Joe Cava, the younger brother of Jake Cava, and what a presence he's been. Just a sophomore. He was already starting last year as a freshman. From the defensive tackle position, you will not see many guys who can rush the passer as well as him from that D-tackle spot.
Absolutely. He's not a small guy out there. He's a big presence, but, man, can he get off that ball. Just a quick guy. And like we saw in that last play, forcing Leitz to make a pass to really no one just because he had so much pressure on him.
And that's really been the story of the game, at least on offense for Central Cass. Leitz not getting a ton of time to throw here. The Shanley D-line just relentless. Man in motion, it's Volk. Dropping back to pass now is Leitz again under pressure, and he's wrapped up and brought down by Brady Ort, the senior, making the big sack on third down.
And there again, it was just that Deacons defensive line getting off that ball just a step quicker than Central Cass, able to push him back, get some pressure on Leitz. And if you're going to throw the ball, Jed, you need an offensive line that's going to give your quarterback some time to throw. You can see that at all levels, really.
And you know, Lucas, I've been blown away not just by this whole Shanley D-line, but especially by Caleb Chrisman making his first start, I believe, in his career, because as I said, he hasn't been in the football program since freshman year, and he's been hurt for most of the season. Chrisman has just been a huge presence. I don't think anyone would have expected it with the amount of time he's had off from football.
And, you know, that's something special. Football's not something you can just get out of and then jump back in. And to be able to do it like Caleb Chrisman, to come back in and almost not skip a beat, really, to be able to come in here. And, you know, he's been a presence in this game. He hasn't just been another number out there just kind of going through the motions. We've noticed him. We've seen the progress he's made. And it's something special, that's for sure.
You saw that punt there for the Squirrels, not too good. It dropped at their own 40-yard line, ended up going out of bounds. And that's the second punt in a row we've seen for Central Cass that just hasn't gone the way they want. Earlier on, they did do a nice job of pinning the Deacons back in their own zone, but that was really it. Other than that, the punting game has been difficult, although that's not surprising given the conditions outside. Busick under center. Quick little pass out to Cava. Looked like he was thinking about throwing it, and he busts through a tackler. My gosh, it looks like they'll mark him out of bounds for a gain of about 4 yards. But Cava, just a machine out there, a train that will not be stopped.
And I think you were right there. I believe Cava was looking for Cam Sefil down the left sideline. Cam just running a straight post route. An interesting play call, but once Cava, great job by Cava to recognize he had nothing going there, so he just took it up himself, a nice gain of 5.
And interesting to note, it's the second time we've seen them try something like that in this game. Hasn't worked so far, but we'll see. Fredericks already has one. Let's see if he can get another. Fredericks with speed, still on his feet, and into the end zone again. Cole Fredericks, just a blur out there.
And you know, they have so many weapons with speed. We talked about Haley Buckholtz and Tom Erie, but another name to add to that list, Jed, Cole Fredericks, just a great weapon out there for him, now with 2 touchdowns. And what looks to be the same play, just that nice sweep to the outside. They were able to clear everyone out and really just let him do his thing.
And you know, Lucas, Cole Fredericks was giving me a hard time the other day about not being on my players to watch. But as you said, after tonight, I think he's forced his way onto that list.
And, you know, I would completely agree with that. Tonight is his night. He's really proven himself just with his speed and a great vision, too. He was able to find a way to get past everyone. He kind of broke a tackle there. Just determination to get into that end zone. And it was a great run play there by Cole Fredericks.
So 28-0, very quick score there for the Deacons. And we still have 10:45 left to go in the second quarter. Just such a strong showing here by Shanley against a pretty good Central Cass team. Lucas, Central Cass comes out now down 28-0. What do you think really has been the problem for them so far in this game?
Well, Jed, you know, injuries take a toll on a team no matter, you know, who you are. And so when 2 of your star players go down, that takes the wind out of anyone's sails. And so with the loss of Albright, and the most recent, really, I believe that had the most impact on them, and they just are struggling momentum-wise and mentally. And so it's not like they're executing poorly. We haven't seen any penalties on them. We haven't seen, some bad plays. I think the wind is just out of their sails. So as soon as they can get their momentum turned back into their favor, one big play, one more touchdown, they could be right back in this.
For sure. And, Shanley has had some losses of their own. Obviously, Caden Kuhneman out with injury. Big lineman for them, Brandon Rosberg, a broken wrist. He's been out for a while. But a big difference between losing a guy in a game and losing a guy, a week ago, it's much easier to fill that void when you've got a full week of practice to figure everything out. I mean, Central Cass just lost 2 of their top contributors in the opening quarter of this game. You just would not believe how difficult it is to try to fill voids like that in the middle of a game.
Absolutely, and when you're throwing guys in there that aren't as experienced as those star players, they get a little shell-shocked. They don't know what to do. They maybe run reps in practice, but they're the second team, so they're not getting the same reps. They're not facing the same guys. And, there is a mental state of mind where it's just like, well, I'm playing behind a star. I'm not going to get my playing time. And when something like this happens and you're thrown into a game like this in front of a crowd like this, it's very tough to execute.
You got to seize that opportunity, and one guy who's really done that in this game has been Cade Busick. He has taken this starting job and run with it while Kuhneman is laid up. Great to see for Shanley. You hear the term next man up mentality, kind of a big-time sports cliche, but it is really holding true for the Deacons.
Absolutely. Coming into this game, too, you wouldn't really guess Gabe Busick has been a second-string quarterback. He stepped right back up. He's leading this offense really well, and everything's just kind of clicking. He's thrown some really great passes, and like I said, he's leading this offense.
Been a seamless transition so far. One man out left, one out right, and now a man in motion. Back to pass. Leitz has some time, steps up, fires a bullet downfield. He's got Volk!
There it
And
is.
Volk down at the 30-yard line. Lucas, we said one play is all it takes, and that might be the one for Central Cass. What a cannon by Leitz.
Well, and not only the throw there, but Leitz had to get away from some pressure. He had some pressure coming from his right side, so he did have to backpedal. That is not the easiest throw for a quarterback to make, and to be able to pull that off, and man, was that right on the number, right into his breadbasket. Just a great pitch and catch there for Central Cass.
And Lucas, you mentioned he had to escape some pressure, but that is some of the most time we've seen for Leitz in this game. Kind of goes to show the problems Shanley's defensive line has given the Squirrels. But you see there, when Leitz has just even a half a second to get set, he can be so dangerous. And that time the pressure comes right at him. And, just not much time to think. That pass goes out of bounds. Second down and 10, at the 26-yard line. 28-0, still in favor of Shanley, but Central Cass now threatening. 10:06 left to go here in the second quarter.
And on that last play, Jed, it looked like Miles Wasik was a weak side linebacker that came off to give Leitz some pressure there. So a great play call. He came in unblocked. And as a quarterback, that's not something you like to see.
No, absolutely not. Those blitzes are really giving Leitz a hard time here this evening. 2 men out to the right, 1 man out to the left. Sullivan in the backfield along with Leitz. Leitz drops back to pass, a whistle, and I think I saw some movement up there. And actually, you know what, Lucas? It's a delay of game.
I did see some movement, too. I thought it might have been on the Shanley side, but same colors out there, so it can be tough to tell. But, delay of game, that's a tough call because as an offense, it's tough. You should really never have that. But, now it goes back to 2nd and 15. After a big play, that's tough to come back from.
This job becomes a whole lot harder for the Squirrels, like you said, Lucas. And after that big play, you really want to try to capitalize on the momentum you have from that. We'll see what they can do. We know they can convert some of these longer first downs. Trips right, flanker left, Leitz under pressure yet again, trying to step up, but he's wrapped up and brought down by Joe Cava. And I tell you what, Lucas, Shanley looks like they're trying to push Central Cass all the way back to where they started from.
And, we talked about it before, but Joe Cava is just a presence out. He got off that ball so quick. He was in Leitz's face almost instantly, and there was just nowhere for him to go. Just great job there by Joe Cava to get back into that backfield. And blocking a guy like that, Jed, is no easy task.
Absolutely not. This offensive line has 4 returning starters, but, even still, when you're going up against a line like Shanley's, you could have 5 guys back, you could have 5 guys and some depth guys returning, and it just doesn't matter. Sometimes the defense is too overpowering. Leeds tried to find Halverson that time, but he overthrows him with a couple of guys right in his grill yet again. And now it's 4th and 23 from the 40-yard line. Wow, how the situation has changed here for the Squirrels.
You know, and after that big play, we thought that might have been it. That's what they needed, and it looked like it. But then there was the delay of game call, and that's always tough on a quarterback, no matter, or an offense, excuse me, no matter what the situation is. So to then go back to a sack and now have 4th and forever, it's difficult.
No question. Halverson, nice punt, but there might be a little too much on it, and that will be the case. He pinned the Deacons back once, but this time just too much power behind the kick, and now Shanley will get a touchback and 9 minutes and 7 seconds to work with. 28-0 in favor of the Deacons. They continue to really dominate the game. And Lucas, it all starts from the line of scrimmage. That's where everything really gets going. That's where the game is won, the big guys up front. And I think the difference here has been that Shanley is winning that battle in the trenches.
Absolutely, and couldn't have said it better myself. The battle in the trenches, that's where the game is won. If you have guys getting off the line quick and being able to force their other guy across from them back, that's what's going to win you games.
So the Deacons going to work here. It's a nice run by Fredericks for a gain of about 4 yards. And, oh, man, has Cole Fredericks been having himself a game.
That's exactly right. He's had multiple big plays, and to be able to keep producing, that's what Shanley needs.
8:50 and counting left to go here. 2nd down and 6. Ball on the 24-yard line for the Deacons. And now it's doubles formation. Busick in shotgun, Fredericks joining him back there. Clark goes in motion for Shanley, but we got a flag. And if I had to guess, I'd say illegal motion.
I would have to agree with that. It looked like Clark might have moved a little early. Maybe thought the call was coming to him earlier than he thought. And, that's just a mental error there from the Deacons.
So that'll make it 2nd and 11. Push Shanley all the way back to their own 19-yard line. So a little bit of a tougher situation. It was a nice run to start things off by Fredericks, but the penalty will pretty much negate the yardage gained. Second quarter moving a little faster than the first here. 8:23 to go, though. It's been a pretty slow first half, but that is not uncommon with two teams that like to pass the ball. Pistol formation for Shanley. Busick going to roll out to his left. Not a lot of space. Almost brought down. And we got a flag in the backfield. We'll see what that's for. Busick, meanwhile, rumbles his way out about a yard or two short of the first down.
It looks to be holding on the Deacons in the backfield there. That's again, a mental error. That's not what you want. And up 28-0, there's no reason for a penalty like that, Jed.
Yeah, Lucas, I was just about to say the same thing. Very odd to start to have these mental errors happening when you're up like this, 28-0. Maybe sometimes you're getting a bit ahead of yourself. Maybe you're thinking about when is the JV going to go in. But you just cannot do that against a team like Central Cass. Their entire season has really been built around the comeback. Unfortunately for them, it hasn't worked out. They're 0-3 headed into tonight. But we know they're capable of coming back in these games. And Shanley, got to respect that. And their coaches are saying the same thing.
This will definitely be a topic at halftime. The mental errors can kill a team no matter how many points you've scored. It's a momentum thing, and that's exactly what Central Cass needs right now. So they're going to welcome these penalties. They're going to keep pushing them back, and the Deacons will for sure be having a conversation about this at half.
Doubles formation now, 2nd down and 21. Shanley kind of seeing something that happened to them like what happened to Central Cass, and now a low ball to Cava. I'm not sure. That was close.
Kind of bobbled it. Yeah, they're going to call it no.
And, Lucas, I think that was the right call there. Cava did a good job trying to get underneath that, but the throw was just a little too low. And that's not uncommon. Busick was rolling out there, and that's just something that'll happen when you're on the move and trying to throw a ball. It's very difficult, especially in the high school game, to throw while running, and see what happens there that time to Busick as he puts one a bit too low into the turf. 3rd down and 21, ball on their own 8. Central Cass really not having to do too much here. Shanley is just kind of shot themselves in the foot on a couple of occasions here on this drive. Fredericks, though, going to try to dig him out of this hole. He's still on his feet, and he's brought down right around the original line of scrimmage. So he'll get back about 11 yards, but that's still going to make it 4th and long, and that should bring up a punt here for the Deacons.
That was a great effort there by Fredericks. He just put his head down, and I mean, watching that one, he made up a lot of ground after that catch. He was a quick guy, and he created a little bit of separation, but not quite enough to get the first down. But, Jed, it looks like the Deacons are electing to go for this one.
Yeah, Lucas, I was just about to say the same thing. Pretty interesting here. Their offense has been fairly strong, but 4th and 8 at your own 22 is awfully ambitious, especially when you're up 28-0.
That's right. I'm feeling they got a lot of faith in their defense if this goes south, but
and it looks like they will take a timeout here, Lucas, to think this one over, as it would be a pretty risky play call here. One thing you don't want to do, when you're up big, you never want to take your foot too much off the gas. You always want to continue to play hard, never take a lead for granted, but you also don't want to go overboard here, up 28-0. We'll see now. They might reconsider with the timeout.
Especially, with how much time's left on the clock, 6:57. You don't need to be pushing yourself this close to half. You do get the ball back. I believe Deacons get the ball back at half. So, with how strong their defense is playing, pushing it on 4th and 8? 4th and 8, pushing it. It might not be the best choice here, but it'll be interesting to see what they come up with. And Central Cass definitely having a game plan, if they punt, if they go for it, what we're having to do here. So maybe it's also the mental games that Shanley's trying to play.
For sure, Lucas. They might just be trying to make Central Cass overthink this a bit. But you know what? The offense comes out. Looks like they'll go for it. We said it once before. Troy Mattern definitely knows more about football than we do. So we'll see if the decision pays off here. We'll see if he saw something that we didn't. So 4th and 8, they're going for it from their own 22. It's a fake. They pitch it out to Buckles. Buckles trying to turn the corner, makes a man miss.
Goodness.
He's going to be close, and he's got it and more. So Haley Buckles dances around out there and gets the first down. And Lucas, Troy Mattern just proving us wrong up here.
Just a great play call, great pitch by Busick, right on the perfect timing. A nice block there by Cava, and Buckles turning that back up enough for the first down. I believe that play doesn't make it as far as it does if Cava doesn't put that block on him. That was great. Gave Haley Buckholz the time to turn up the field and run. So just a nice play there by the Deacons.
No question, Cava seals the edge there very well. So now it's 1st and 10 at their own 37 for Shanley. A risky decision pays off in spades for the Deacons. And now Busick forced to step up, and he's brought down from behind. It won't be a sack, but it'll only be a gain of about 1 yard for Shanley.
Well, and when you look at the alternative situations for Busick in that situation, he didn't like what he saw downfield, man-to-man coverage. You weren't really didn't want to test anything. Maybe Mattern talked to him too. If you're gonna play conservative. So nice job there by Busick to be able to step up and give that one a run and pick up a couple yards.
Doubles out to the left and then a man out to the right. And now Busick on the QB carry throws the stiff arm. Good for a gain of almost 20 yards. A huge pickup that time by Cade Busick. And what a hole the offensive line opened up for him.
Absolutely, and that just goes back to the battle in the trenches. The Deacons getting off that ball really quick and catching Central Cass on their heels. And, Central Cass is a little deflated right now. They had them pinned back there at 3rd and 21 and even 4th and 8. And, that's tough for a team when you give that up.
No question, Shanley played it risky there. Central Cass really had everything going for them. And the Deacons picked up that first down, got themselves out of a hole, and they're still going as Busick completes this one to Cava up the near side. He is gone into the end zone for the Deacon touchdown. Look at this. It's a beautiful throw, but the run after the catch is something else. Jake Cava, as we said, a big guy, 225 pounds. You would not guess it by the way he moves.
Well, and it was a great block there by Cam Seville, kind of sealing off that edge. It was a zone coverage there by the Squirrels. So, it's dangerous with a guy like Cava underneath the middle. So, just a great play there by the Deacons.
So 34-0. Max Bush out there to try to make this 35-0. The snap, the hold, and the kick is up and blocked. And that falls just short. You know, Lucas, that ended up being a lot closer to going through than you'd think. But so it's 34-0. Another block there for the Squirrels. But boy, if you had told me it was going to be 34-0 in favor of Shanley before halftime had even come, I don't think I would have believed you. What a dominant performance here from Shanley against a pretty strong Central Cass team.
I'd agree with you there, Jed. That's this Central Cass team is no pushover. They've come in this, they looked really strong early on and making some good plays. They've made great plays here in the later part of this half, but they're just not seeing the ball a lot the second quarter, and that's tough. But there again, the Shanley Deacons just dominating on both sides of the ball. It's that O-line, that D-line. They're just getting off the ball and creating troubles for everyone across the line from them.
Yeah, Shanley is always they've always prided themselves on their play at the line of scrimmage. Long-standing tradition, a great play up there. Denver Bronco, Connor McGovern, a Shanley product, big-time offensive lineman, played SEC ball, and now was with the Denver Broncos. That was kind of Rod Oxendall's calling card. But I tell you what, under Coach Mattern, nothing has really changed there. That offensive and defensive line, they look just as strong as they did during the Oxendall era. It's a nice kick taken out, this time by Halverson. He makes a couple men miss, not so much miss as he just lowers the shoulder and moves through them. And then he's finally brought down at about the 36-yard line.
And Jed, you could see the steam coming out of his ears there. He wanted that ball, and he wanted to run that back to the house. Like you said, just lowering that shoulder, not so much making a man miss, but running straight through him. And that's the kind of fire this Central Cass offense needs right here. I'd be on the lookout for a big play here early on.
Absolutely. Like you said, Lucas, when you're down big, you need guys to step up. You need your leaders out there. Halverson, the junior, just leading by example that time, lowers the shoulder, and he's saying, hey, if we want to get back in this one, we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. Just going to have to grind it out. And so we'll see if they can do it here, get their first points of the game maybe on this drive. Trips left, flanker right, Leets in shotgun, Cava showing blitz. Pressure coming, Leets fires. It's a ball intended for Halverson. Oh, they're going to say he landed out of bounds. But what a grab. Let's get a look at that replay.
Wow. That was right on the line there, Jed. That catch was unbelievable. I don't know what to say there.
I mean, Tom Erie was right on top of him. It does not get much tighter than that.
That was a great throw, too. That's right where it needs to be placed.
And
he just falls out of bounds. That is so close.
Lucas, I do think he got the 1 foot down there maybe, but when it's live like that, when it's going on down at the field, it is so hard to tell. To be honest, when I saw it, I thought it, totally a 50-50 call. Still somewhat unsure on that replay. So maybe he got the foot, but always tough when you're trying to make that call without instant replay.
That's right. We have the benefit of watching it here, and even if they did have it, in my eyes, it looked like he might not have had possession when his foot touched the ground there. I did see his foot touch, but I think that was a safe call made on the field. It was accepted by most. He did land out of bounds, but that catch was unbelievable. He full laid out there. It doesn't get much prettier than that.
Inbounds or out of bounds, the kind of strength it takes to make that catch with one hand, the kind of athleticism. Jacob Halverson, we talked about leading by example on that kick return. How about that catch?
And they called his number right away, Jed, and I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing that connection more often.
Yeah, it doesn't end up counting. It doesn't end up being a completion, but still to even pull that ball in. So 5 men out wide, Leets under some serious pressure, and that ball going to be picked off by Hoffer, and not much you can do there if you're Jonah Leets. Men just barreling down towards you. Look on that replay, Jake Cava was off to the races, and he gets hit hard, and Hoffer, the man in the right spot to make that grab.
That was just kind of a Hail Mary thrown up there. You don't want to, as a quarterback, you don't want to take the sack, and he knew he had receivers down there, so you just kind of lofted up. But, when you have pressure coming in at you like Jake Cava, and it looked like Miles Wasik probably got in on that play too, it's something, it's tough. It's a whole different atmosphere down on the field.
Absolutely. Lucas, I think if the game were a bit more even at the line of scrimmage, you take that out of it, I think we got a lot closer of a game between these two teams.
Absolutely. We've seen Jake Cava just destroy at that line of scrimmage on the side of defense on his blitz. And, it's tough to stop a guy like that.
Without a doubt. And that play not going for much, maybe even a loss. It looks like they'll say he got back to the line. Busick there tried to sell the fake. Central Cass not fooled, though. They meet him immediately on the QB keeper. 3:50 on the clock. Central Cass trails by 34 here. The Deacons have the ball. 2nd down and 10 to go from their own 38. 2 men out left, 1 man out right. It's a pitch over to Fredericks. How many times has this play gone for big yardage? And it's going to go again. Fredericks down at the 40-yard line. And Central Cass does not have an answer for the speed of Cole Fredericks.
And, that play there was made possible by Trevor Yagi. Watch number 71 here. He's going to come up, pick up that block just enough, just barely gets the shoulder. And Fredericks turns the corner, kind of runs into Cam Seville there, but a big gain nonetheless.
And that was a great catch there, Lucas. Yeah, it was Trevor Yagi who ends up, as you said, just barely gets enough of the defender, but that's all he needed to do, and it gave Fredericks the time to turn that upfield. Busick now going to throw. Wasick gets it. A great spin move. Almost pulled it off again, and he's down for the 1st down. Wasick with a great reception, a nice ball there from Busick, and it is now 1st and 10 at the Central Cass 30. 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go in this first half. Something to note, though, the Deacons have used all 3 of their timeouts already, so if this drive starts to slow down, they should have enough time, I would think, with 3:10 on the clock, but no timeouts left as they used them up pretty early on in the game. 2 men out to the left, 1 man out to the right. Busick in shotgun, Fredericks with him in the backfield. It's a fake, he finds Seville on a bullet, and Seville is into the end zone for the touchdown. Just an absolute bullet there from Cade Busick.
Just a great job, sells a play fake, and he steps into this pressure, and just a nice catch there by Seville, who had pressure on him, breaks 1 tackle, and forces his way into the end zone. A nice pitch and catch there by Deacons.
Once again, Cam Seville making a big play. What a week for Cam Seville, crowned homecoming king on Monday, and now 2 touchdowns on Friday. Not a bad week at all. So 2:45 will be left for Central Cass to try to do something here as Bush is able to convert that. I believe that was Bush out there.
I think it's Matthew Maschenbacher. They might have switched him out there, but a good kick nonetheless.
Yeah, Lucas, you know what? I think you're right. That's my mistake. I saw Matt Machenbacher, warming up on the sideline. Bush has had some struggles the last couple weeks. To be honest, though, I don't know how much of that you can really put on Max Bush as the protection has really broken down on a lot of those kicks. More often than not, when a kick is blocked, it's either because someone on the other side has made an absurd play or your protection has broken down.
And like we saw in that first block kick there, the snap was a little low. So when your holder's got to mess around with the ball a little bit, you're already into your kick. It's not going to come out the way you want it to. So like you said, you can't pin a whole lot of that on Max Bush. But really, overall, this Deacon offensive line is looking really strong.
No doubt about it. Shanley holds a 41-0 lead here. Central Cass has time to get on the board. 2:46 on the clock. It's going to be tough. One thing you can't forget, and I definitely think it's something that's in the back of the Deacons' minds. A year ago on this field, their season ended after giving up a 29-7 lead at halftime over the Kindred Vikings. And, I think most people at that game thought it was done at halftime, but the Deacons ended up losing that game on a last-second Hail Mary. Kindred came back. And so I think one thing Shanley definitely has in their minds this year, they are not going to get complacent. They are going to build every lead to its fullest extent because they have seen what happens when you let someone creep back into a game, and they're not letting it happen twice.
Absolutely, and Central Cass almost getting back into this game here on this last kick. It was a nice return. Just brought it down the 20, almost the 25, maybe 24-yard line.
That was Andrew Volk that time. Yeah, Lucas looked like he might end up finding some space on the left side. The Deacons were able to bring him down, though, right about at the 25-yard line. Handoff up the middle to Sullivan, and he is met immediately. They've tried to go up the gut a couple of times, and it just has not worked.
And we've talked about it all night, Jed. That defensive line for the Deacons is just so strong. We haven't seen a whole lot of those pitches come back from Central Cass, and wondering where those are at. I don't know. Maybe it's just the loss of personnel. I don't know if they've used those on those plays, but I'd like to see them try a couple more pitches and see where that gives them.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Lucas, but you do bring up a good point there. When you lose big pieces of your offense like Albright and Knutson, not only does it limit your personnel, but it really limits your playbook because certain guys can really execute certain plays, and right now it just is really tough. Your playbook has just really got to be shrinking by quite a bit when you lose two guys like Knutson and Albright. So 3rd and 6. A minute 37 on the clock right now. A 41-0 lead for the Deacons. They have just been smothering Central Cass on defense, and obviously no issues on offense either. Squirrels have had a couple of nice plays on offense, but they've been just too few and far between so far. One man out left, one man out right, and now going in motion is Halverson. Leeds drops back to pass, steps up, has a man, but it's intercepted by Talon Hoffer, his second of the game. And what an evening for Talon Hoffer. Kind of similar plays. We see Leeds overthrowing his intended receiver, and Hoffer just kind of happens to be in the right place at the right time.
He just kind of ended up with the ball there. I thought it was a nice job by Leeds fighting off that pressure. He stepped up in the pocket really nice, kind of shook that off. But there again, he kind of let the ball go a little early, overthrew his receivers, and it was picked off. But, technically, it was technically sound. He went up, stepped up in the pocket. It was very nice.
Yeah, I don't think you can put a lot of blame on Leeds, like you're saying, in a game like this, where he's just had to deal with so much pressure. Speaking of pressure, Busick is going to get out of some and go off to the races now as he's out for a gain of 15, maybe 20 yards, actually. Looked like Central Cass would get the sack, but Cade Busick says no way, and he takes off.
And, there again, going back to just his resourcefulness. He's such a tool out there, just able to be a mobile quarterback and be able to make some plays.
Under a minute to go here, 47 seconds. Shanley trying to get some more points in here before the half. That time, though, Busick under pressure and just had to get rid of that one.
Almost instantly, and it looked like he did have a receiver open there, but just kind of overthrew him with that pressure. So it was a good job to get the ball out of his hand. And the clock does stop now, so it gives him a little time to breathe. Looking to get some more points on the board before half.
Right, not the worst incompletion there for Shanley. As you said, it stops the clock because they do have no timeouts left here with 46 seconds to go in the half. Busick in trouble once again. It was a screen, though. Fredericks took it, and Fredericks just about escaped from the tackler.
Three flags.
Yeah, wow. It is a flurry of yellow out there. We'll see if we see...
the flag came in when Fredericks was tackled, but that could have been a block, too.
Not quite sure.
That one's clean.
Still looks good. Maybe Cava for the block in the back.
I want to say Cava for the... It looked like he got his hands on him there, and they're going to call that just about every time.
And it's tough to tell how much of that was an attempt to make the tackle, how much was the block. But, you just have to know when you play football, if you get the hands on the back as a blocker, they're going to call that every time.
If they see it, they are going to call it. And that was a call on the field, so that's tough for the Deacons after a big play.
I would say at the end of the day, though, probably the right call. Better to be safe than sorry with plays like that.
Yep.
Doubles formation, Busick in shotgun, play action pass, fires one, too high for Cava that time. Halverson gets up a little slow there, but appears to be fine. Both men had to jump for that one. So 3rd and 14 after the penalty, and that incompletion there. 30 seconds left here for the Deacons to work with. We might see them just take a shot here, regardless of how much time they give Central Cass. If they turn the ball over, I don't see the Squirrels really doing too much with it, as there'd probably be 30 seconds or less here for them to work with.
I would agree. I would imagine that Shanley's going to try and take some deep shots here, try and get the first down. If they get it, they're going to go for some points. If they don't, they might try and run that clock down.
Right. And now Busick dumps this one out to Buckles. He's made some big plays. This time, though, the Squirrels sniff it out. Sullivan throws him out of bounds. And now 22 seconds on the clock. He'll bring up 4th down.
And it doesn't look like he got any yards there. So, again, looking for an aggressive play here by Shanley, trying to get some points here on 4th down. If not points, then a 1st down. But 22 seconds left. It'll be interesting to see. Do they go for the sideline, try and stop the clock again, or are they just going for it all here?
And, Lucas, I would not be surprised if we saw them take a shot here. The personnel out there would make me think they might go for just a jump ball here. They got some big guys. Cam Seville, the 6'5 target in there. Miles Wasick, another guy well over 6 foot. Keep your eyes on Clark, though, in the slot. He's a speedy option. They end up going after Seville, who gets the reception and is brought down out of bounds just short of the end zone. They'll have about 2 yards to go and 17 seconds to work with. What a connection, though. Busick to Seville has been money.
With pressure in his face, though, and Jed, I think Seville's got to have some Velcro on his hands or something. He's catching everything out there, and, that's what you need in a game like this. And on 4th down, and we kind of talked about that, going for it all, and Seville there with a great grab.
And, Lucas, we love to talk about his height because it does give him such an advantage. But you look at a play like that, and Cam Seville is about 2 or 3 steps ahead of the guy on him. So Seville also showing some real speed. Deacons going to try to pass here right at the goal line, and it'll work, although we do have a flag down, I believe. Touchdown completion to Clark for now. We'll see what the flag is for, though. I think it was something.
Maybe Miles was on the block there, but,
tough to
I'm
tell.
not super knowledgeable in football penalty. Oh, looks like he's
picking up the flag.
So there's no foul on that play there.
And so it will be a good touchdown. Matt Machenbacher going to come out to attempt the PAT. Wow, 47-0. Just a great drive there by Shanley, recovering very nicely that time. They found themselves in a tough situation. The block in the back made it 3rd and 14, then 4th and 14. And the Deacons just responded really well. They're going to try to make it 48-0. Snaps good, holds good, kick is up. And that is good as well. Matt Machenbacher finding some success there as the Deacons kicker. That will leave Central Cass with just 12 seconds to work with. Likely, Lucas, I think we're just going to see the Deacons squib one up the middle. Central Cass will run this clock out, and they will head into halftime to try to sort out what has happened here in the first half.
And, Jed, I don't think it's anything technically they've done wrong. This Shanley defense is stellar out there tonight. It's just an animal. But when you look at it, we've talked about it time and time again, just getting that one play. And it looked like they might have had it there for a little bit after that big completion, but coming back after a big half break and, recollect all your thoughts, and you go through your personnels with the big couple losses in the first half, or the first quarter, and it was big couple losses, you go back and you just kind of get everyone on the same page, and you tell them, stick with it, we're going to get it here this second half.
All right, so Deacons come out to kick this one away. I believe that is Cody Malish out there who will be doing the kickoff for the Deacons. It's Volk back there to return along with Halverson. We've seen them both do some good stuff from those return positions. And Malish, like we thought, is just going to squib this one. And Central Cass will fall on it and likely take a knee with just 12 seconds to go here in the half. Squirrel offense going to come out. Lucas, we could maybe see them take a shot, when you are down this big. Sometimes you just got to think, why not? We talk about the one-play mentality. Obviously going to be very difficult here with the kind of deficit they're facing. But at the same time, what do you got to lose,
And I was just going to say something, Jed. 12 seconds less. What do you got to lose here? Going into the half, you could get a big play in and go into half with a little bit of momentum. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here.
They do come out in doubles formation. And it will be a shot, it looks like. Leitz drops back, takes a big drop. He's got a man, his check down. And, oh, man, Jake Cava just pummels the receiver. That time, Leitz was looking for Chase Gross. And, Leitz takes a big step back in the pocket, trying to buy his time. Running out, though, he goes to his check down man, Gross, and Gross turned up field before he really had control. Jake Cava made him pay as he just came in and walloped him.
And that's the kind of play Shanley wanted, too, that check down. That's right what they wanted. They don't want to give up anything long.
And now it's just a play-action pass. Jake Cava there once again to make Gross feel his presence, and that will do it for the first half. A long first half here as the Deacons walk away with a 48-0 lead. Lucas, your impressions of this first half?
Well, Jed, it can't go unsaid is that Deacons line, on both sides of the ball, is just outstanding here tonight. They have won every battle that's come their way, and they are just dominating on the line of scrimmage. But on the Central Cass side of things, the big losses in the first quarter really hurt them, and that's tough mentally and personnel-wise. You got new guys coming in, getting some more reps. So, you know, I would say they're going to go into this half and take a look at things, kind of get people on the same page and tell them, hey, this is what we got, this is what we're going to work with, and we're going to go out here and give it our all. And to be able to come back and maybe get a couple early on in the third quarter there might be big for them.
All right, well, we'll be interested to see what the Squirrels have in store in the second half, the Deacons as well. For now, though, folks, we are going to take a break, but be sure to stick around. We're going to be bringing you the homecoming festivities here out on the field. Those are starting right now, so don't go anywhere, folks. Stay tuned for that.
And Tom Noah. By Joe Keller, son of Joni and Gary Keller. Alexis Warner, daughter of Lisa and Kent Warner. Alexis is escorted by Isaac Kubalin, son of Judy and Gary Kubalin. Kirsten Wickleman, daughter of Nicole and Dale Wickleman. Escorted by Nick Lope, son of Kim Lope and the late Mark Lope. And your 2017 homecoming queen, Lily Rivard, daughter of Jenny and Mark Rivard. She's escorted by the 2017 homecoming king, Cam Seville, son of Maria and Dan Seville. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Shanley High School homecoming court 2017. Let's give them a round of applause.
Good evening, folks, and welcome back to North Dakota High School football action. I'm Jed Thomas, alongside my partner Lucas Johnson. And folks, before we get you back to the action, we would just like to take a minute to remind you that Shanley TV is made possible in part by the Shanley Athletic Club and their generous members. Check out their website today at shanleyathleticClub.com to learn how your membership contributes to Shanley TV, the Deacon Den, and many other student-athlete needs. While you're there, be sure to renew your annual membership by clicking the Join Now button or become a member if you're not one already. It's easy to become a member, and anyone can join, so sign up today. The Shanley Athletic Club, taking Deacon athletics to a higher level. Folks, of course, we're hugely appreciative to the Shanley Athletic Club and everything that they do. If it weren't for them, we would not be able to broadcast here for you, so we greatly appreciate all the work the Shanley Athletic Club does. But now getting back to the action, Lucas Johnson, you are, of course, back on the air. The alumni, the man, the myth, the legend returns for this game. And tell us, what are your thoughts going into this second half of action?
Well, Jed, personally, it's a great game to come back for. Plenty of action. Not much rest there other than the first quarter is being pretty long. But, man, am I impressed by this Shanley defensive and offensive line. Just getting off that ball, firing on all cylinders, really, just getting into the game early and not letting up. But Central Cass looking strong out there, too. We've had plenty of big plays coming from them, and, I think once they get things to click, they could be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, no doubt. And something worth noting here in this second half, we will have running time as the Deacons do hold a 48-0 lead. I'm not quite sure what the threshold is when that starts to go into effect, but nonetheless, the Deacons have crossed it. And, Central Cass, got to talk about the injuries that they sustained in the first quarter, losing Albright, their top receiver, and Knutson, their top running back. There is just not much you can do when that happens.
And, like we talked about, Jed, the mental toll that takes on a team when you're rallying around your star players and really relying on them to make some big plays, and all of a sudden both of them go down in the first quarter. You don't see that happen a lot. And so when that hits a team, it hits them hard, and it's just tough to recover from.
No question. And, because of those injuries, Jonah Leitz has really been hung out to dry on a lot of plays. He's lost his weapons. He's lost a large part of that run game that kind of takes the pressure off of him. And in the way of blocking, obviously that offensive line has had its trouble, but Braden Knutson was a big-time contributor in the blocking game. They often would have him in the backfield picking up blitzes, picking up guys who got through the line. And so, it's just really been the perfect storm here against Central Cass. Everything right down to the weather disrupting that passing game.
Right. And, we talk about all the negatives happening against Central Cass, but, really, when you look at guys that stepped up, Jacob Halverson, number 16 for Central Cass, has really shown some leadership here late in that second quarter on that kickoff return. He's really, playing with some anger in his eyes, and then, of course, that miraculous catch, which unfortunately was called out of bounds. But, he has really stepped up in place there and looking to give some Leitz a little bit more of an option.
All right, and so before we get back to this second half of action, a quick update from Double-A football. The Wahpeton Huskies are up 20-0 over Valley City High School after one quarter of action. Back to the game at hand, though. We're underway here in the second half. The Deacons start things off on offense, and Tom Erie bringing it up the far side. He'll be brought down right around the 28-yard line. And so Shanley, after a very dominant first half, will go back to work here.
And really look for them to come out right away, doing all that they can to put that ball in the end zone. They're not going to let up. They're gonna keep pounding that ball home, doing what they do best, and playing some gritty football.
And we've seen some big personnel changes out there for Shanley. They're bringing in some other players, some second-team guys, some younger guys. One thing that hasn't changed, though, Cade Busick still under center. Not surprising, considering he's just making his first start here. Honestly, kind of a guy who could use some experience himself. It doesn't look like he needs it, but he really could.
And, he has stepped into this position very well and really filled it and taken up the role and responsibility of a quarterback, a starting quarterback. And it'll be interesting to see. You can kind of tell on your screen, folks, that it is starting to rain pretty heavily here. So, it'll be interesting to see the impact that has on the game. the ball is going to be a little slipperier, maybe not as much passing. We've seen a lot of passing regardless of the wind. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of effect the rain has.
I formation now for the Deacons. Two men split out rather. Clark and Buckles, or excuse me, Erie. Nonetheless, they don't go to the receivers. It's another run up the gut, and it does not go very far. 3rd and 11 now. Shanley offense not having as much success as they did in the first here. We'll see if they go to the passing game, as they've mostly been keeping it on the ground here.
Shanley taking some time to call this play, and Busick looking a little confused there, not quite sure of the call. They've got 8 seconds left on the play clock, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get this off.
And, Lucas, that confusion you do see from Busick there, well, I'll get to that in a second. We'll see what they do on this play. It's play action, and miscommunication there. It looked like they were maybe going for a screen.
I believe they were looking. Busick was definitely looking for a screen, but there was no one.
It didn't look like they were running a screen, so bit of confusion. And, Lucas, that's why, despite the fact that Busick is the starter now, and despite the fact that he played so dominant in the first, that's why he still needs these reps here in the second half. Obviously, you don't want to risk getting him hurt, likely why we've seen them run the ball here. But you definitely want Cade Busick to get some more repetition. Caden Kuhneman was a real steady hand at the quarterback position. I don't think the coaches had very many concerns. He was a guy who knew the playbook very well. Busick, obviously, a bit rustier than Kuhneman, and that ball goes off the shoulder of Haley Buckles and takes a roll for the Deacons, so it ends up working out there for Shanley. Central Cass now will get the ball here with 9:20 to go.
They will spot that where it clipped Haley Buckles. So they're going to get that ball at the 42-yard line, which is a great position there for Central Cass.
Yeah, I was kind of waiting to see. Wasn't sure when it hit Buckles if that. I thought it, meant it was down, and it looked to seem like there was a little confusion on the field as well.
I didn't hear any whistles when it did hit him, so I wonder if there was a little confusion there. But they definitely will call that up to the point where it hit Haley Buckles.
So, as you said, Lucas, a lot better field position now for Central Cass. We'll see what they've got now in this second half, their first try on offense. Trips left, flanker right, Leets in shotgun. Takes this one, and it's just a handoff up the gut, a little bit of space, but it closes off quickly. Gang tackle that time, a couple of guys in there, Machenbacher and Gladich, along with Simon Bowden. Second down now and 9 for the Squirrels. And, we've talked a lot about the struggles this Central Cass offense has had. Jonah Leets has had pressure in his face all day. But I tell you what, Jonah Leets, when he gets time, even on some plays where he didn't have any time, man, does he look good out there. Just one heck of an arm, both accuracy-wise and power-wise.
Absolutely. He steps up into that pressure, into the pocket, really well, and really kind of embraces the pressure and makes a play. And there have been a couple times where he's overthrown, and that happens. A quarterback's going to make mistakes, but in the pocket he looks really comfortable.
And Lucas, when you factor in that he is just a junior here, already in his second year starting, and he's got that great 6'3", 190 frame, you got to wonder if those college offers are maybe starting to roll in, because I tell you what, at least from some of the local programs, maybe some of the lower level ones around here, I could see some big interest for a guy like Jonah Leets.
And when you're built like he is, it's very, I don't want to say easy to get offers, but it makes things easier. And when you perform the way he does, it's a great step in the right direction. So I would agree with you, Jed. I would be sure he's getting some looks.
All right, so the Central Cass offense looking a little more potent here now in the second half. It's going to be a quick pitch on the near side. And here's some space off to the races now. The Squirrels finally breaking open this Shanley defense on that carry. It was Zach Jones, the senior.
And it looks like the Deacons did call a strong side blitz, but the Squirrels going back to the weak side. And just a nice play there by the Squirrels and great run. And, man, that could have been a little bit bigger if you kept it outside, but nonetheless a great play.
And, yeah, as you said, Lucas, looked like he might have the potential to take that to the house. It was a nice job, though, by Erie and Hoffer being the safety valves back there and getting to him. Doubles formation, Leets pump fake, had a man over the middle. Just about picked off. That ball was tipped by Austin Manuel. He got a hand on it, and then it looked like it might end up in the arms of Jake McKeever, but it falls to the turf.
It looked like it wasn't so much he got a hand on it. It looked like he kind of swatted that one down, Jed. It was interesting, but, you know, a good defensive play nonetheless.
6:10 on the clock, 48-0. The lead in favor of Shanley. Central Cass, though, is threatening. They've got the ball at the 19-yard line, 2nd and 10. 3 men out right, 1 out left. Leets, bit of a misdirection play. Volk in trouble. Wrapped up and brought down. Multitude of Shanley players there, just all right on top of Volk. He had nowhere to go.
I'm counting 4 Shanley defensemen in on that tackle, Jed, and that's just good defensive pursuit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, not much more you can say there. They sniffed it out. They got to the misdirection, just did not fool them. 5:28 on the clock. It's 3rd and 15, so that play ends up losing the Squirrels a good deal of yards.
We have seen them convert on some 3rd and longs here earlier in this game, so do not count them out here.
No question about that. They've got the potential. Leets in shotgun. He drops back, looking, has some time, but he's got to do something with it. Still somehow on his feet, fighting through it, and finally brought down. But, man, Jonah Leets was not going down without a fight, that's for sure.
And, you know, I believe he waited till the last possible second to not do anything with that ball. He was really keeping his eyes down the field, hoping one of his receivers could get open, but nothing opened up for him there, and he had to take the sack, which is tough in that situation.
And as a coach, Lucas, I think you got to be really happy with the fact he didn't try to force anything there. Like you said, he hung on to it, and he didn't bring that ball away from his chest. He kept it pinned there the whole time, so really did not give the Deacons an opportunity to take it away. They get the sack, but they don't get the ball, and that's just kind of a veteran move there by Leets.
Absolutely.
Halverson goes in motion. Leets in shotgun. He drops back. A little bit of time, stepping up in the pocket, fires one over the middle of the field, and it's picked off. Kevin Gladich up the middle, still on his feet, being drugged down by the jersey, and finally down at his own 28-yard line. The sophomore making a huge play, and that's one to remember for Kevin Gladich. You know, Leets does have some time here. He's forced to step up. And, you know, Lucas, there just really was not a lot there.
And, you know, there was a little bit of pressure. We had talked about him overthrowing, so it might have been a compensation because he did underthrow that one pretty heavily. So, you know, he did have some pressure. Kind of looked like he jumped off his back foot as he threw that. And when a quarterback does that, it's tough to make a play or get the ball to go as far as you need it to.
Kind of forced into a bad throw there. Under 4 minutes left in this third quarter. Obviously, running clock moving along a lot faster here in the second half, as the Deacons keep it on the ground with that one. On the carry that time was Carter Kochman, the freshman. 2nd and 9 now for Shanley from their own 29-yard line. 3:32 left here in the third quarter. Some late substitutions here for the Deacons, not quite getting their personnel set until the very end. They will break the huddle now, though. They'll have about 10 seconds to get the play off. And we do appear to have a change at quarterback. It looks to be number 17, Ben Osley, the freshman. Osley has two men in the backfield with him, a flag thrown high into the air that time. And so we'll see what that call is. The play didn't really amount to much that time for the Deacons.
False start on the Deacons, I believe.
And, you know, see on the replay, not seeing a ton. There was a little bit of a twitch on the interior line. That might have been it. Not quite sure, though. Kind of tough to tell. You know, like we say, a lot of calls are a lot harder from being down on the field, but some calls like that are a lot easier to see the line of scrimmage and what's going down low when you're on the field. So 48-0 our score, 3rd and 9. 3 minutes left to go. And Kevin Gladich, the man who got the pick, will check in for Shanley. Once again, Cade Busick is out. He is on the sideline. Likely he's just getting a rest here, and I have to imagine we'll probably see that the rest of the night. It's a pitch out to Gladich. He's got some speed. He was almost brought down, tripped up in the backfield that time by Jacob Halverson, and ultimately that costs him any room he might have had to turn it upfield. So 4th and 9, the Deacons will punt. Shanley back at their own 29-yard line. Jake Cava, all-purpose player for Shanley. He was all-state last year at the linebacker position. Obviously a big threat from tight end, and now we'll see him in at punter. Does a pretty bang-up job from that position as well. Here's the snap. Cava loads up, and this one off of his foot, a bit awkward. Not quite going, I think, where he intended. It had some power, but it ends up hitting right at that out-of-bounds line and going out. Looked to be one of those punts just kind of off the side of the foot that time.
Maybe trying to get himself some forward spin there to take a Deacon bounce. You know, it's a risky play. You know, sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't there, but nonetheless, it's Squirrels' ball, and we'll see what they can do with it.
Offense looked a lot stronger on the last possession for Central Cass, although it did end in an interception. That was Jonah Leit's 3rd of the game, but to tell you the truth, I do not think 3 interceptions really correctly depicts his performance tonight.
And you know, he's just under a lot of pressure, and that happens when you have pressure in your face. You tend to make some bad throws.
Yeah, for sure, and I think that goes along with the fact Central Cass just really has not been able to establish much of a run game here. The Deacons haven't really been forced to respect the run as much, and when that happens, you can really drop back a lot of guys into coverage, and when you're outnumbering those receivers for Central Cass by such a large margin, interceptions are just bound to happen. Nice run there that time for Central Cass. It'll only be a gain of 3. Looked like they might have gotten out to a bit more, but I believe the running back that time stepped out of bounds. It was Zach Jones on the carry, if I'm not mistaken. Trips right, flanker left. Leitz in shotgun. That's where he does most of his work, as we've seen. Volk went in motion that time. Now Leitz is going to have to roll out under pressure. He steps up with it, and that's a nice gain for Jonah Leitz, brought down for a gain. That was about 4 or 5 yards there that time.
And, you know, that makes 3rd down a little bit more manageable, Jed. And a nice job there by Leitz, recognizing the pressure, seeing he doesn't have anyone open, tucking the ball and running, finding a little room outside there, and giving the Squirrels a very manageable 3rd and 1.
Yeah, Leitz not really a guy known for his legs, much more of a pocket passer. That time showing off some nice mobility. As we mentioned earlier, big frame, able to fall forward and get some extra yardage. 3rd and 1, seconds ticking down here. Leitz on the QB keeper. That looks good for a 1st down to me, and that will do it for this 3rd quarter. We go into the 4th quarter with Shanley up 48-0. A commanding lead here for the Deacons. Central Cass, though, looking a lot stronger here in the 2nd half, that's for sure.
And, you know, Jed, going back to that last play, you had talking about that Leitz being the big character that he was just really able to fall forward. It was a QB sneak on 3rd and 1, and, you know, it looked like he almost pushed his center out of the way. You know, when you're that big and that strong at quarterback, you can just kind of barrel through there. And, you know, he gets that 1st down, which was big for Central Cass.
Absolutely. For you NFL fans watching, it's something you see a lot with Tom Brady, kind of known not as a very mobile guy, but a big frame. Loves to just kind of fall forward on those quarterback sneaks. Like you said, Lucas, when you got some strength and some size in that QB position, you can do stuff like that. And so, that 3rd quarter done, we start the 4th off with Central Cass facing 1st and 10 from the Deacon 45. Leitz takes the snap. It's a handoff. And now a little bit of room. This running game really showing some improvement in the 2nd half on that carry. It was Chase Gross.
And a nice job there by Gross. Kind of hesitating, waiting to see what he had. He found the hole, and he burst through there for the first down. So a nice run there by Gross.
11:30 and counting left to go in the game now. One man out left, one man out right. Leitz just going to pitch this one out. And now Jones is going to carry this one upfield for 6 or 7 yards. Zach Jones, the senior, with a nice run. And the run game really looking a lot stronger here for Central Cass, like I said. And in turn, I think that's opened up a lot more options for Jonah Leitz and the passing game. In the second quarter of AA action, Highliners, Huskies, Wahpeton taking on Valley City. In the second quarter, it's a 34-0 lead in favor of Wahpeton. Keep you updated there. Wahpeton, one of the top teams in all of AA. Central Cass fell 28-8 at the hands of Wahpeton. In the first game of the season, the Deacons take on the Huskies in Wahpeton a little later in the season. 10:30 and counting left to go here. It is now 3rd and 4 for the Squirrels. Done a lot more running here on this possession, and you know what, Lucas? It's really worked well for them.
You know, that's right, Jed. They've found some more holes, and the line's been getting off that ball nice and quick, so it's definitely helped them out to get some holes and get their running back behind some blockers and able to pick up some yards.
Trips right, flanker left, Deacons showing blitz. Leitz takes a snap. It is a low one, but we got a flag, and it appears to be on the Deacons. Looks like another encroachment penalty. We saw one a lot earlier on, and it looks like we got another.
And that's a tough penalty there because that gives the Squirrels a first down and inside the 30, right about 25. So that's not what you want as the Deacons, and the second one of the night, that's trouble.
And the time really winding down a lot faster here. Once again, running clock. That coupled with the fact that both teams have really started to run a lot more. We've just got 9:15 to go in the game. 1st and 10. Central Cass has the ball at the Deacon, 25. It's a little pitch here. Over to Gross. Gross finding an edge, still on his feet. Chase Gross headed to the end zone, throws the stiff arm. And they'll
they're going to call him just short.
Down at the 1. As you said, Lucas, man, Gross was fighting hard on that play.
And you know, Jed, watching that one, I thought I might have saw a little hold there on Central Cass as Gross broke that outside, but obviously the refs didn't see anything there. The Shanley sideline wanted a flag on that one, but a great run there by Central Cass nonetheless, and we'll see if they can pound this one home.
No question, even with that hold, whether it was there or not, Chase Gross did a lot of work himself, throwing the stiff arm and powering through, and it's close.
They're going to give it to him.
That's correct. Central Cass gets their first points of the evening here in the 4th quarter.
And a nice little pitch play out there, and just reaches that ball over into the end zone and in for 6.
It was Zach Jones, the senior, with the touchdown. You saw Machenbacher there, was the first Deacon to meet him, tried to take him out at the legs. Jones, though, makes a nice move and just reaches out for the points. So, Central Cass gonna go for the extra point here. It looks like they'll just be going for 1, I think. Yeah, it is the case. Leitz was directing traffic like a quarterback, but he'll be the holder here as that kick is up, and it is good. So Central Cass makes it 48-7, and that's nice to see for the Squirrels. You know, they had a tough time early on, lost their top receiving option and their top running back. Definitely, without a doubt, limited this offense. So it's good to see them get a touchdown because, boy, they've really worked for it here tonight.
And, you know, that might be the momentum they need now. So that defense come out firing and you know, get this Deacons on a stop here and get the ball back and put some more points up on the board.
Absolutely. 7:37 on the clock. Still time to do some damage. Central Cass, not a team that's going to roll over. Doesn't matter what the score is. Doesn't matter the situation. I mean, you know, they're looking at a huge deficit here in the 4th. Got to have some of that morale deflated, losing 2 just beloved leaders of your team. But, man, just so much fight in this team.
Absolutely, and you love to see that too. There's just no quit, and they just keep playing the game they love, and they're doing what they do best, and just pounding that ball home. And on that last possession, we saw that running game work really well for them. So I would like to see more of that here in the next couple of possessions.
Zamaron kicks that one down. Machenbacher bobbled it, but he gets it back in his possession and then is wrapped up at the 36-yard line. That's where Shanley's offense will go to work. 7:24 left to go in this game. Shanley getting another look on offense. It was not so successful last possession. We'll see if they can show a little bit of improvement here. Osley will be back in to lead the offense at quarterback. And, we talked about how the Deacons probably wanted to get Busick a few more reps in the second half, not pull him too early. But at the same time, probably happy to be getting Ben Osley some time too, because now with Caden Kuhneman out for an extended period of time with the broken collarbone, Cooper Mattern, who was going to be their third-string option headed into this season, broke his femur in their scrimmage. They're really left with just Busick and Osley really at the quarterback position. Busick having just made his first start here tonight, and Osley, a freshman who really has never seen much time until right now. So smart move, I would say, by the Deacons to give their now backup Ben Osley some time. Some more updates in AA action. At halftime of the Watford City-Grafton game, Watford City is up 14-0. And in the Wahpeton Valley City game at halftime, it is 42-0 in favor of the Huskies. I formation, handoff, not going anywhere. Kevin Gladich met immediately by the Squirrels. They get good penetration that time. And folks, we're going to take a quick second to remind you, don't forget that you can connect with Shanley TV on social media, get the latest updates about Shanley sports teams, plus reminders about upcoming broadcasts. Like our Facebook page today at facebook.com/ShanleyTV, follow us on Twitter at ShanleyTV, and now follow us on Instagram at ShanleyTV.
One more time, what was the handle?
Shanley TV, Lucas.
Okay, thanks, Jeff.
Tough one to remember, I know. All right, so it's I formation for Shanley. There are 2 men out left, and it's a handoff. No, it's a fake.
Goodness.
Oh, Ben Osley selling that fake. And, oh, man, someone tell the musical about that, because that was a great display of acting. He had me fooled. I think he had everyone fooled on that play.
He sold that to everyone. He had plenty of room out there. And watch it, he drops his shoulder here. He doesn't willingly go out of bounds. He is forced out there. Just a great play there, honestly. Just, nowadays you don't see many quarterbacks sell that fake. And they like to, they go through the motions, but that one was sold and very impressive.
Yeah, Ben Osley, especially for a freshman, usually you're not going to see guys who can do that, that well at that young of an age. So really impressive from Osley. As you mentioned, he lowers the shoulder to end that run. Great to see the grit from him, but Coach Mattern on the sideline probably gritting his teeth as he watches that one. He's already lost 2 quarterbacks. He does not need to lose another.
And this rain coming down pretty heavy now, Jed, and I'm looking to see this ball is going to stay on the ground, I would say, for the rest of the game. I don't think they're going to be risking anything here in this weather.
Yeah, Lucas, with 4:18 on the clock, I think you're right. I don't think anyone's really gonna go for a home run here. They're just gonna try to continue to eat away at this clock, keep the ball on the ground, and with the rain, probably the smart move. I formation yet again for Shanley. And Osley on the keeper, I believe, as he just runs that straight up. Kind of like a little quarterback sneak there. Interesting play call, but it really works out well for him as he got a lot of jump off the line of scrimmage.
And, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from these 2 quarterbacks. They might not be the starters and what the Deacons had planned for, but really overall they're deep in this quarterback position, and I don't believe they've skipped a beat, Jed.
No, not at all. Losing your starting quarterback, losing your third-string quarterback, your options are pretty depleted, but boy, as you said, Shanley's got some good options back there Their second stringer and I think who originally was going to be their fourth stringer, Osley, are both looking really strong as Osley muscles his way in for the first down.
And you know that's an attribute to the coaching staff at the for Shanley, and just getting everyone ready, no matter where you're playing and what your playing situation is. They're always going to have you ready to be thrown in there and get some playing time. And I think, you know, that's why they're so deep. They get plenty of reps in there, and they're treated the same as all the starters, and they're thrown right into the game, and they're right at home.
2:45 left to go in this game. Deacons pounding it away on the ground. They got 1st and 10 here now from the Central Cass 26. We'll see if they can get one more in there before time expires. Handoff up the gut is going nowhere that time. Central Cass really tightened up on defense here in this second half. Andy Simon on the carry that time, and they will say there was no gain there.
Deacons taking plenty of time with this clock running down and not trying to force anything here. They don't need to get anywhere, so looks like another personnel change there.
Yes, that does appear to be Matthew Holstein in at quarterback, another freshman. So Shanley, you know, really trying out all their options at QB. And, you know, this can be a really critical time to see who's going to stick around at that quarterback position and who's not. You know, a lot of guys come in their freshman year playing one position, and they graduate their senior year playing a completely different one. You know, you never quite know until they've matured a bit. And, you know, games like this can be really critical for coaching staff to evaluate who's going to be able to last at QB, who's got a future there, and who has better potential somewhere else. And, you know, sometimes you got guys like Matt Bird who end up playing QB one year, running back the next, and then QB again. So you never know. A little over a minute left to go here. 3rd and 8 for Shanley at the Central Cass 25. I formation. Holstein going to hand this one off. Some space now for Kochman. He shed a man off his back. Carter Kochman looking shifty out there. Another freshman for Shanley. And now under a minute remaining here. And, you know, Lucas, we talk about the youth of Shanley and how important this time is for them. We're seeing a couple younger guys going in for the Squirrels, too, here as well. The thing about Central Cass, though, is a lot of their youth are their starters. Just a huge junior class that started most of last year as sophomores. They've just got so much youth there. A lot of juniors and sophomores again this year. I think next year and the year after especially, we're going to see some big things out of the Squirrels because they're going to have guys who've been starting for a long time.
Absolutely, and experience like that helps out tremendously as the Deacons take a knee, and run this clock out.
Yes, that will do it. As you said, Lucas, talking about the future, talking about youth, today just not the day for Central Cass, not the right time. A young team that, you know, just looks like they could use a few more years, but give them time, folks, because, boy, did we see some flashes. Jonah Leitz, just wait for him to be a senior. That will be fun to watch. So time does expire, though. The Deacons come away with a 48-7 win. Lucas, your thoughts on both these squads moving forward in the season?
Well, Jed, like you had said, Central Cass had plenty of good things out there. They were looking strong early on and made a couple big plays. And, you know, it's tough when you lose two of your top guys in that first quarter, so that definitely had an impact on them. And then on the Deacons side of the ball, Jed, I was just crazy impressed with the line on both sides of the ball, and I think that's what won them the game. They got off that ball quick, and they were just relentless. On the defensive side, they got pressure on Leitz almost right away, and on the offensive side, they created huge holes for running, and they gave quarterback plenty of time. So really impressed with the line there for the Deacons.
All right, well, it should be fun to watch both these teams going forward. Deacons move to 4-0. Central Cass, meanwhile, drops to 0-4, a deceiving record, I think, though, for the Squirrels. Some close games, some tough games. It'll be fun to see what they do with the rest of the season. They've had a really tough start to the year in terms of strength of schedule. I think maybe when we see them play some of the lighter teams in this division, we might see those wins start to rack up for them. Deacons, meanwhile, keep rolling. Their schedule gets a little tougher, though. They got St. Mary's coming up here. They still got to play Detroit Lake, still got to go to Wahpeton. it'll be fun to see that as well. Before we go, folks, just got to give a huge thank you to Lucas Johnson here, coming back. For those of you who were with us last year, Lucas was our my main color guy up here. Great to have you back, especially, folks, Lucas Johnson coming in here with just about 10 minutes before the game started and filling in. So, Lucas, thanks for coming back. Great to have you. I think everyone was just real psyched to have you back.
Well, it was my pleasure, Jed. I couldn't imagine coming to this game and not doing color. I spent all last year doing it. So, yeah, it's just great to be back. I'm glad I could watch a game from up here. All
right. Well, for tonight, for Lucas Johnson and for our entire crew, I'm Jed Thomas. Your final score from Fargo, Shanley Deacons 48, Central Cast Squirrels, 7. To watch the archived version of this entire game and our other broadcasts, go to ShanleyTV.com. The proceeding has been a presentation of Shanley TV.